You know what I'm here for.
Back on top, punching the clock, clutching sanity.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. I've been avoiding recording this video for like a week because I'm extremely superstitious and I'm afraid as soon as I drop this, the Celtics are going to start playing bad basketball. But lately, 10-2 in their last 12 games, probably the hottest team in basketball right now. They've been playing great. And a lot of the storylines from early on in the season are no more. They've been reversing those trends. And they're one of the best teams in the league and probably one of the most scary teams when it comes to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. There are actually other games going on as I'm recording this, but I don't want to talk about the Lakers anymore, so we're just going to scrap them. We're just going to focus mainly on the Boston Celtics. I might touch on some other games too, but let's talk about the Celtics because I don't think I've given them enough light, even though that is my team, which is kind of crazy, but I try to keep it strictly unbiased on this channel because that's just how I am. The Celtics, man, 10-2 in their last 12 games. The defense has been off the charts since Christmas, I believe. They've been the best defensive team since then, and they might overall be the best defensive team in basketball, you know, as far as metrics go. Early on in the season, that was a question which was kind of weird because when you looked at the team on paper going into the season, you're like, this team should at least be a good defensive team. And early on, they just were not that. The offense was good, but the defense was just pitiful. They were blowing leads like crazy. We all know how many blown games this team has had this season, which still has kind of been a little bit of an issue, but it's not as bad as it was early on. They've kind of reversed everything, man. Been the best defensive team in basketball. And I dished out a lot of criticism because that's how you are with your favorite team. Like, when they're good, you appreciate it, but when they're bad, you are very critical. And that's how I was, especially with a lot of guys on this squad right now, coaches included. I was very critical. But just as much as I can dish out criticism, I can dish out apologies too, and I can give people their flowers. And I got to start with Coach Ime Udoka because I was not super critical of him. I just had a lot of questions. I didn't know if his scheme was really working for this team. I wasn't sure if he was built to be the head coach of this basketball team. You know, I kind of thought the hire was kind of interesting from the jump because he had never been a head coach before, but he was a former player, so I thought he would be able to relate to these guys. But I was very skeptical, especially early on in the season. If you look up Rick Knows Hoops and Celtics alongside of it, you'll probably see like 4 or 5 videos from the last few months of me bashing the Boston Celtics. And in each one of those videos, I probably mentioned the questions I had with Ime Udoka. He's reversed that completely, man. His team has really bought into his philosophy. Defensively, they've been amazing, which is really what I think the order of this team should be. Like, that should be the identity of this team, and that's what it has been over the last couple months. And a lot of that's got to go to Ime, man. I got to give him his flowers for sure. Even offensively, the teams look a lot better. They look a lot more bought into moving the ball. Not just a lot of JB and JT isolations. Get well soon, Jaylen Brown. He went out with an ankle injury. Hopefully it's nothing too long-term, man. It looked kind of bad. But other than that, Ime's done a really good job, man. I really appreciate the way that he's been able to adjust his coaching style. And I feel like I might have been a little hypercritical because he is a rookie head coach at the same time, too. And sometimes it takes a little bit for these guys to really get a rhythm. And I think he's gotten his rhythm. His players respect him. They're bought in, and they're playing so well right now because of that. Marcus Smart, we know what he brings to the table, man. Like, his defense, his leadership is always showing up. Like, when you watch his team, he puts his body on the line every single night. He's always talking, very vocal on the court. He calls player-only meetings. He does all that, man. The team missed him when he missed some games. I think, like, the end of January. You could tell they missed this guy. And since he's been back, man, this team has been on a roll. Him and Robert Williams have really been anchoring this team on the defensive side of the floor, which is good to see, man. Shout out to Brad Stevens also because he made the move at the deadline, which I didn't see coming. I don't think a lot of Celtics fans saw coming. Getting Derek White for basically not really giving up too much, man. He gave up Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford, 2 guys who were expendable, man. Josh Richardson was playing good basketball for the Celtics. He was shooting 40% from 3. He's playing good defense. Some nights he was like the second leading scorer for this team. But Derek White's just a better basketball player. And tonight against the Hawks, he went on like a personal run at the end of the third quarter to really push the game up into like double figures. And the Celtics didn't look back after that, man. He was very impactful, especially after Jaylen Brown went out. I think he's a guy who can be that third perimeter option for this team, which has desperately been missing, man, since Gordon Hayward left, since Kemba kind of, you know, started to regress right in front of our eyes. This team has been missing that consistent third perimeter option, and I think Derek White can be that guy. And I'm somebody who's been very critical of Jayson Tatum at times in his young career. While he is one of my favorite players, I feel like there are just some things that really infuriate me when I watch him play. But lately, he's been playing amazing basketball. As the season's gone on, he's been getting better and better. And it's not just the offense. Defensively, he seems very engaged. I feel like he's always been kind of an underrated defender, but I think this season he's really bought in, playing night in, night out on the defensive side of the floor. I think it's starting to get a lot more recognition just across, you know, basketball fans as a whole. And his playmaking it's improved. It's much improved, man. Since like the comments by Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, they both like steadily been getting more assists and stuff like that. But Jayson Tatum's actually playmaking. He's actually playmaking. He's making the right reads. He's making the right passes, the right plays. He's playing a lot better just from an intellectual standpoint, man. He's seen the game a lot better. He also mentioned in his post-game interview tonight how he's moving a lot more without the ball, and he's like, that's what kind of separates the good from the great, is being able to move without the ball and, you know, do something when you don't have the basketball. And he's been doing that a lot more, man. Cutting back doors, screening off the ball, and just, you know, being engaged when he doesn't have the basketball. That's definitely a big development in this game, which I'm happy to see. And if you look outside of the 2 losses in this streak, which were to like Indiana and Detroit, there have been no real hiccups, man. The Celtics have been playing great basketball. This is the easiest part of their schedule, but it's still good to see that they're able to beat up on the lesser opponents. And now they're like sitting pretty comfortably in like the 6th seed range with the potential to move up because the East is that close. I might have to rewatch Timberwolves versus Warriors, because what's going on with Golden State? I know Draymond's been out. That's a big piece, but they also went on like a 9-game win streak without Draymond Green. And since the All-Star break, they've come back kind of hobbling. They just lost the big lead the other night to the Mavericks, and they pretty much got handled tonight by the Timberwolves when I was checking in and out of the game. Might have to rewatch that one as a whole. Cat had another big night. Shout out to him. I saw somebody on TikTok, and I know it's NBA TikTok, but they were basically saying Cat's not a top 10 center in the league, and I called dude bogus for it, because that is a terrible take. Cat is that guy, and he's a top 3 center in the world for sure. Some other teams on the cusp, man, like in the play-in, the Clippers get a big win tonight, the Raptors get a 1-point victory, and the Washington Wizards, shout out to Kyle Kuzma. Even though he was not great tonight, he kind of sold me on my parlay, but he's been playing great since the All-Star break, since he basically doesn't have any handcuffs on him. You know, it's just really, it's his team right now offensively. Like, this is his squad, because there's no more Spencer Dinwiddie. Bradley Beal's done for the season. Porzingis still has not suited up. It's his squad right now, and I love to see Kuzma thriving. The play-in race, man, is going to get interesting as we get down the stretch run of the season. That's something that might have to dedicate a whole video to, on just like the possibilities of who can be in the play-in, the teams that are in the play-in that we didn't expect to be there. There's a lot to talk about in that situation. So I might have to keep track of how many games the Celtics lose after I post this video, because I feel like my superstitions, they just always come back to get me, man. But shout out to the Celtics, 10-2, 10 games over 500 now. Playing great basketball. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll catch y'all next time with another video. Peace.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape this game.